You've heard it a million times, right? That little buzz on your wrist, that notification on your phone, hit 10,000 steps. It's basically become the global gold standard for being healthy and active. But have you ever really stopped to wonder why? Why that specific number? Is 10,000 really the magic key to good health, or is there maybe a little more to the story?
Well, let's just get right to it, because the truth is pretty wild. That fitness goal, the one that millions and millions of us are chasing every single day, it wasn't born in a research lab. It has zero scientific basis. It was born in a marketing meeting. Yeah, a slogan.
So, okay, where on earth did this number actually come from then? Well, to figure that out, we actually need to hop in a time machine and head back to the 1960s.
So picture this. It's 1964. The Tokyo Olympics just wrapped up, and Japan is swept up in this massive national fitness craze. The very next year, a company spots a golden opportunity and releases a new pedometer. But they needed a great name, something catchy, so they called it the Manpo K, which, get this, literally translates to 10,000 step meter. It was a nice, big, round number. It sounded impressive, and the marketing campaign was a smash hit. And just like that, an arbitrary number made up for an ad campaign became a global health benchmark.
Okay, so if 10,000 was just a really good slogan, what does the real science have to say? Well, this is where it gets really exciting. Because while the number was a myth, decades of research have now shown that the act of walking itself, it might just be the closest thing we have to an actual magic pill.
And this quote from Dr. John Jakasic just nails it. Physical activity is the powerful medicine. And you know what? Walking is simply the most accessible, the most affordable, and the most consistent way for almost all of us to take that pill every single day. No prescription necessary.
And this right here really shows the huge shift in thinking. The myth created this intimidating all-or-nothing mindset. You know the feeling, right? If you only get, say, 7,000 steps, you feel like you failed. But the reality is that the health benefits are on this beautiful sliding scale, and they start to kick in with just small, totally achievable increases in how much you move each day.
So, let's really get into it. What is actually happening to your body when you just go for a walk? We'll start with the physical stuff, and honestly, some of these numbers are just staggering.
Check this out. A huge review of multiple studies found that just by going from about 2,000 steps a day to 7,000 steps a day, you're looking at a 47% lower risk of premature death from all causes. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. That is an absolutely massive protective effect.
And it's not just about living longer. What about your heart? For your cardiovascular health, just a 30-minute walk every day can slash your risk of having a stroke by a whopping 35%.
And what about your metabolic health? It's the same story. That same simple 30-minute daily walk is also tied to a 40% decreased risk of developing type 2 diabetes. The consistency really pays off.
And looking at this chart, you can really see how all these amazing benefits start to cluster around that 7,000 step mark. I mean, a 47% drop in all-cause mortality, 25% for heart disease, 22% for depressive symptoms. It's just incredible proof that the real sweet spot for major health gains is so much more accessible than we were ever led to believe.
But, it's not just about your body. The benefits aren't purely physical. In fact, some of the most fascinating research is about what happens upstairs in your brain when you walk.
So, how about this for a number? Recent research has found that walking around 9,800 steps per day seems to be the optimal dose for lowering your risk of dementia by half, 50%. So, how is that even possible?
Well, a big part of the answer comes down to this amazing protein called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like Miracle-Gro for your brain. Getting your heart rate up with a brisk walk is one of the best ways to stimulate BDNF, which then goes to work protecting your existing brain cells and even helping to grow new ones.
And this boost in what is essentially brain fertilizer has all these incredible downstream effects. I mean, studies show walking can literally increase the size of your hippocampus. That's your brain's memory center. It sharpens your cognitive function, it can boost your creativity, it melts away stress, and of course, you get that amazing endorphin rush that just lifts your mood.
Okay, so we've busted the myth, we've looked at the incredible science. But what does all of this actually mean for you, like right now? Let's figure out how you can find your own personal magic number.
So first, let's get a little perspective. The average adult in the US gets somewhere between 2,000 and 4,000 steps a day just doing their normal thing. And you know what? This is actually fantastic news, because it means that even a small increase from that number puts you right in the zone for some of those major health benefits we've been talking about.
And that brings us to maybe the most important idea of all, diminishing returns. Look, the single biggest leap in health benefits you can possibly make is going from doing almost nothing to doing just a little something. The jump from 2,000 to 4,000 steps is way, way more powerful than the jump from 8,000 to 10,000.
So instead of getting obsessed with that one big number, 10,000, think about these science-backed thresholds. At just 3,800 steps, you're already slashing your dementia risk by a quarter. You hit 7,000 and bam, there's that huge 47% drop in mortality risk. These are real, powerful, and so much more attainable goals.
So, how do you even start? It's so simple. First, just figure out your baseline. Wear a tracker for a few days without changing a thing. Then, just try to add 500 more steps. That's it. That's literally a 5-minute walk. You can take the stairs, park at the far end of the parking lot, pace around while you're on a phone call. The key is to find little things that make it easy and even enjoyable, because it's the consistency that really changes everything.
So when you boil it all down, the most important point is this. We've been laser-focused on the wrong number this whole time. The real goal isn't to hit some arbitrary target that was literally invented for an advertisement. The goal, the real magic number, is just more than yesterday.
Because truly, every single step you take, whether it's getting you from 2,000 to 3,000 or from 6,000 to 7,000, it all adds up to a healthier body and a sharper mind. This isn't about being perfect, it's about making progress. So the only real question is, what's your next step going to be?
We've all heard it, 10,000 steps a day. But what if I told you it all started as marketing? So where did this number even come from? And is it actually the key to better health? Turns out it wasn't a scientist. It was a Japanese company in the 60s trying to sell pedometers. But since then, scientists have actually put that number to the test, and the results are pretty fascinating. But before we get into the numbers, let's be clear, walking is incredibly powerful medicine. Just how powerful? Well, studies show walking can slash your dementia risk by as much as half. And get this, for every extra 1,000 steps you take, your mortality risk drops by 15%. Even adding just 500 steps is linked to a 7% drop in cardiovascular mortality. Wow. Seriously, the benefits are huge, touching on just about every aspect of your physical and mental health. So, is there a perfect number of steps? Science calls it a dose-response relationship. Let's look. Basically, the more you walk, the better. But after a certain point, the extra benefits start to plateau. And here's the best part. The benefits kick in way earlier than you probably think they do. You can see a significant drop in your risk starting with just 2,500 to 4,000 steps a day. I mean, just look at this. Going from around 4,000 to just 5,500 steps almost halves your risk. And, your age plays a little part too. The optimal range is slightly different for different age groups. Okay, but let's be real. Life gets busy. What if you can't hit that goal every single day? This is amazing. Hitting 8,000 steps just 1 or 2 days a week gives you almost the same benefit. It's called the weekend warrior effect. So even if you only get long walks in on the weekend, it works. So, the final verdict? 10,000 isn't magic, but it's a fantastic goal that's right in that sweet spot. The real point here is progress, not perfection. Just try to move a little more than you did yesterday. So here's how to start. Find your baseline. Then just aim for small, consistent improvements. That's it. Now that you know the real story behind the number, what's your next step going to be?